This segment is sponsored by Goodwin Living. Whether you choose to age at home or relocate to a senior living community, transitioning into the later stages of life can be expensive.
Luckily, Goodwin Living helps you plan accordingly. Today, we're joined by Sue Dalton, Director of Sales at Goodwin Living, and Fred Pang, a resident at Goodwin House, Alexandria. They're here to help us explain how planning ahead can make for a more seamless transition. Welcome. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Sure. Well, what are some things that people should consider when starting this planning process?
Well, that's a great question because, we all age. And so when older adults are thinking about planning for their retirement living, they should really think about it in three categories. The first would be lifestyle, and then services, and then amenities. So when thinking about lifestyle, it's really important to think about, what do you like to do? Do you have hobbies, and would you like to think about new hobbies in the future? Art, fitness, volunteerism. Services, when thinking about the services, they should think about the amenities and the levels of care that are being offered at a senior living community. And finally, financial. So when older adults are thinking about that, they should think about their own financial situation, take a hard look at it, and think about how that matches up with the contracts and financial plans that the senior living communities have to offer.
Is there a good time to start this planning? Can you start it too early, too late? What do you suggest?
You cannot start too early. It's never too early. Thanks for asking that question. We have found that looking out into the future is a great idea, and there's many resources to help older adults. Financial planners, estate planning attorneys can help you understand whether or not your dream can become a reality, and also that you have the right documents in place.
Sounds like a lot of things to think about, but you walk people right through the process to make it easy. And Fred, what was the experience like for you in planning for your older living? And also, how did you come to choose the Goodwin House in Alexandria?
The process for me worked very well, and it ended in a very good result. A few years ago, my wife and I knew that we were getting to the point where we needed to downsize. We lived in a fairly large house, and it became difficult for us to maintain. And so we needed to think about how we're going to live in our golden years. And as we talked about this, it dawned on us that this is going to be pretty complicated, a lot of moving parts. And so we said, okay, well, who's going to be impacted most by our decision? And number one, our son and daughter.
Right.
Because if something should happen to us or we needed care, they would be the ones that the responsibility would most likely fall on. So we talked to them first. Then we said there are going to be other people involved in this. And so I contacted our financial advisor and asked him to put together a team of our financial advisor, our tax advisor, our family lawyer, and our insurance advisor. And that's what we did. And that was a smart thing to do, frankly. I mean, because they're the ones that are going to have to process all the stuff that you need to do.
Yeah.
After we did that, we then went on a search. We decided, hey, a place like Goodwin House would be good for us.
Do you have advice for others that are in this process making the decision?
Yeah, I think there are three pieces of advice I'd give. Number one, okay, is to involve up front all the people that are going to be affected by this, your family and all the people that would advise you that, I hadn't mentioned before. Very important, because they'll help you stay focused, on getting done what you need to do. The second piece of advice would be, for at least for us, it was to make sure you do this methodically. And so how do you do that? Well, I think you need a single piece of paper, okay, from which everybody can reflect off of.
Okay.
And so I drew up a matrix, simple, and just said, here are the places we went, here are the things that appealed to us in each one of them, and net, where do we go in the end? And thirdly, I think it didn't occur to me at the beginning, but in the process, you need to kind of look at or think about how the corporate structure is organized. And so they're for-profits and not-for-profits, okay? And the for-profits, their focus has to be on return to the investor, right? That doesn't mean they're bad. They're going to do all the things that they
Right.
say they're going to do. And then there are nonprofits, but I felt more comfortable with nonprofits in that I knew I was going to be the center of their attention.
Yeah.
Great
So,
advice. Really.
so those are the three, and I hope that anyone that proceeds, will have the same good result that came to us.
Sue, Fred, thank you so very much for sharing all of this with us. And once again, for more information, you can visit goodwinliving.org.
Or you can give them a call at 703-578-7201.